When we left off, we were sailing into the foggy waters of the North Pacific about halfway from Hawaii to Washington.
We're running the engine right now. It's the first time we've had the motor on here for about, I want to say maybe 8+ days, 8, 9 something days. It's been a while. We've had decent winds, and even in the calm periods we've had light enough winds to keep us moving. We're in the middle of one of the higher pressure systems we've ever really seen before, or been in for a length of time anyway, and this is 1033 millibar. We're hopefully coming through the top of it. Tonight we should cross into 40 degrees latitude, which is a big milestone for us. So you always kind of look forward to those next progressions, right? And 40 degrees kind of means we're getting north. We want to go to about 47, 49, something like that is where we're going to kind of aim for, depending on the weather. And today marks we just crossed 2 weeks at sea, so 14 days was earlier today. We've covered about 1,390 nautical miles. That's total distance traveled overall. I think direct line we're at about 1,200, something like that. So that's not too bad. We're only like 100 and, I don't know, whatever that is, 180 extra miles out of our way there. And hopefully by the time we get into the 40 degree latitude, we should start to pick up a little bit of the wind ridging around the top of that high pressure before we start really getting some westerlies coming across from the low pressure gradients that are coming out of the west. We've got a lot of fog all the way around us here. Last 3 or 4 days now, we've seen these big fog banks around us. I think we're kind of constantly in it. That's just what we can see on the horizon. But we constantly feel like a mist hitting us in the face, even when it's nice and sunny out. So I think it's just this kind of light sea fog, I guess that you'd call it there. Beautiful. It's really flat calm right now. So we've got the motor on. We just checked the dipstick on the fuel to see what we had left in the main tank. It's 20 gallons on that tank. And we have not topped that up since we left Costa Rica. So that's why we wanted to do a double check on that. We've got a couple more jerry cans here on deck. The good news with running that engine though is that it's going to give us hot water, because our water heater on board Varuna runs through a clarifier which goes through that heat exchanger and heats the water that way, or through shore power. So a little treat to us is we might have showers down below tonight. We have full water tanks because of all the solar. There's beautiful sun all the way north here we didn't think we'd be getting. We've had full batteries and we've been running the water maker. So tonight we'll probably have some nice showers down below. What a nice afternoon. Let's drop that main and we'll see if we can get this.
Sun went down a few hours ago and there's still no wind. Decided to turn the motor off. We downloaded a grid and showed that there's pretty much not going to be, oh, bird just flew right by. Pretty much not going to be any wind for at least 6, maybe 12 hours, depending on how far we make it and how accurate the grid is. So we decided to turn the motor off and just drift. Get some rest. Been doing that the last few nights. It's allowed us to get a lot more rest, just kind of drifting along. We don't have to pay too much attention because there's no wind to sail in. We dropped the main and put the Genoa out. If there was going to be any wind, it looked like it was going to be relatively behind us. So the Genoa on the pole is a better sail to have up than the main for that, and it's a lot quieter. The main goes flogging back and forth when we rock the swells, and this is nice and quiet. But it's very calm, very misty. Feels like I'm in like a mister or something right now. It's just like raining down mist in a cloud in the fog. And we turned the spreader lights on to put the pole out. in the water, when we were doing that, we saw there's a bunch of like squid that came up to the surface, attracted to the light, I think. They're pretty cool looking. To try and find some of them again. We'd love to be able to catch them. We don't have a squid hook to catch them on though. Looks like it's snowing.
I know, it feels like it when you look through it. But look at the water. Do you pick the water up? Look at the colour of the water. Isn't that cool?
Wow, it's very blue.
Very blue looking. Don't fall in.
You see down there.
A lot of blue water.
Contrary to what it might look like, it's actually a good thing that we have blood all over the side deck. It means we caught a fish, a tuna. Tuna are always super bloody fish, but there's an artery that when we pull them in, we just spike the artery, and basically that kills them pretty quickly and mercifully, but it does make a big mess all over the deck.
You wiggle a lot.
Yeah, when they start to die, all their muscles like spasm, and so it's crazy how much muscle. Obviously, all that meat is muscle, but they just like flap so hard, and it just splatters blood everywhere. It's a mess, but a yummy mess. Some albacore tuna is in our future. This guy, this is an albacore tuna, we believe. Very big, meaty fish, and he has these super long pectoral fins, the fins on the side here, and that's how we identified him as an albacore. I'm gonna fillet him up. Excited to have lots of tuna meals in our future. We must have crossed some magical threshold in the water here, because after over a week with nothing on the lines, we suddenly had non-stop tuna hitting the lures, so we filled our freezer and feasted.
Well, that cargo ship there behind me, about 7 miles away, is our closest point right now. And it's one of those huge, newer, I guess you call them, like mega cargo ships. It's about 340 meters long, I think 42 meters wide, and then like 12 plus meters deep on the draft. And it is cruising along. So one of the ways you can tell on the AIS, they transmit certain amounts of data or certain bits of data at different intervals. So one of the first things you get is there's a contact out there and a position before you get information such as their name and some of the other details, length and all that sort of jazz. But one of the things you do get is their speed early on, and that really helps you tell you what kind of ship it is. Moving at 20 knots, this guy, that's a pretty good indicator that it's more of one of the newer cargo ships. Most of the standard kind of cargo ships range in the 230 to 300 meter range, and they tend to go at around about 13 to 16 knots, depending on the conditions out here. He's going 20 knots, he's also got a little bit of wind behind him, and probably the swells with him as well today. Anyway, this guy's flagged out of Germany. He's on his way to Los Angeles, and we're pretty far north right now, so they're obviously taking a great circle route and cutting up and over closer to the Arctic where it's a shorter distance. Not sure where he came from, but I'm guessing probably somewhere in Asia would be my thought.
Just as we had hoped, the further north we got, the more consistent the winds became, and we got back to sailing instead of drifting. Snack time?
Snack time.
What's for snack?
Poke bowls and a TV show.
What's a poke bowl?
It's a Hawaiian raw fish dish. Basically deconstructed sushi.
Yum.
Change in weather we were expecting is here, and we've got the pole out right now with the full Genoa. We're going to go and change that because the wind's a little more out of the south than we were thinking, and we want to probably come a little more beam on so we can head a bit more east right now instead of north. That'll put us a little more beam to the waves, but it'll make it easier for us to reduce the sail to a staysail. And we'll see how it goes. Anyway, we'll have a look outside. It's a bit wet.
Before putting the staysail out, we rigged our running backstays, which helped to support the mast. Then, since we were planning to come around from downwind to beam onto the wind, we prepared to raise a reefed mainsail as well.
Well, the weather has changed. We were expecting some wind and some rain to come in, and it has. There's kind of a low pressure system several hundred miles to the north of us, but we're feeling the effects of it here and expecting 20 plus knots for the next couple days. Today is day 21, and we have about 600 miles or so to go to the entrance to the Straits of Juan de Fuca. So that's exciting. We're getting close. We're hoping about 5 more days or less, and we should be there. Last day and a half or so, we've had quite strong weather. It's a big low pressure system, a couple hundred miles to the north of us, and last night we had about 30 knots all night. Some really steep, close together seas, just tossing Varuna back and forth. It's finally starting to settle down now. The wind's back down under 20 knots, and we're just waiting for those seas to subside. Ty is trying to get the wind vane up and running. We used the autopilot all last night. The seas were just so steep and pushing us crazy angles. There's no way a wind vane can keep up with that. But now we're trying to get Dan back up and going. The reason we want to try and get Dan, our wind vane, set up is because the autopilot is a big strain on our batteries, especially when it's running all night, fighting big seas like this. It really wears down our batteries, a constant drain. And as you can probably tell, it is very cloudy skies. I don't remember the last time we saw the sun, but it's been quite a while. We've had very thick, solid cloud cover, rain.
After days of clouds and rain, the skies finally parted and gifted us some beautiful sunshine.
Very blue sky here right now.
And a little boost of spirits to get us through until we sighted land. But that's our next adventure. Thanks so much for watching, and a huge thanks to our patrons who support the making of these videos. If you enjoyed watching, please take a moment to give us a thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe, and even consider becoming a patron. Until next time.